Welcome to Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel. Chris Lee joined by Brian Edwards here to tell you more and give you predictions on Texas's trip to Kentucky. You can catch that 6 Central on ESPN Saturday. Texas a 12.5-point favorite with an over-under 42.5 at FanDuel as we speak. Reminder, we're brought to you by our friends at GameTime SIDEKICKS, officially licensed stainless steel drinkware, all SEC schools, 350 other universities. Stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. SE16 get you 20% off your entire order, and you will love yours just as we love ours. Also brought to you by the HOF app. Smart bettors rely on data. HOF hands you powerful analytics at your fingertips to tilt the odds in your favor. Improve your chances of winning using historical data, matchup grades, trends, and player performance insights. HOF was created by Ivy League sports geeks to let everyday fans bet smarter. Great offer for you here. Limited time only. Our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, but they get 50% off their first month when they use code SE16 at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS or Android, enter code 15, and you're all set. Brian Edwards, let's start with Texas. The Longhorns got a big win over Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout last week. Question I have for you, does your opinion on Texas change any after what we saw a week ago?
A little bit. Not that I was, you can't overreact to one result. You can't, do too much overreaction to one result. And, Swamp's a tough place to play. And it was only Arch Manning's second career road start. So, and he struggled on the road. He has struggled on the road. 14-7 game at Ohio State. What happened at the Swamp? As a road favorite under Sark during his tenure, Texas is 7-8 against the spread. And, anytime, and I know we talked about it on our Oklahoma, South Carolina preview, anytime you're coming off your biggest rivalry game of the year, it's worth pointing out how, a team has fared in the very next game recently. So in Sark's 4 seasons at Texas, when they are off the Red River game against Oklahoma, the next game, here are the results. Year 1, it was a 32-24 home loss against Oklahoma State when the Longhorns were favored by 3.5. Year 2, it was a 24-21 home win over Iowa State, but Texas was favored by 16 in that game. And then year 3, it was a 31-24 win at Houston, but Texas was favored by 23.5 in that game. And then last year, it was a 30-15 home loss to Georgia as a 5-point favorite. So 2-2 straight up, but 0-4 against the spread coming off the Oklahoma game under Sark, and losing gambling wise to the closing number by 61 combined points in just 4 games.
Goodness. Well, hey, to me, this is probably a little bit more about Texas, and I have mixed feelings because Texas does get, a 23-6 win. No, one of them was a 75-yard punt return, so that goes on the scoreboard, which makes you think it was offense, which it really wasn't. Averaged 4.9 yards a play against Oklahoma. Not great, but that is an elite defense. But it was also just kind of, you didn't have to do a lot because of your defense, and Arch Manning did enough. So on one hand, it's like, okay, didn't do much, but it was still good enough for a kind of a lopsided final score at the end, which makes you go, okay, what if he starts playing closer to his potential? Then what do we have? Because their defense has just been so stingy and so good. And you look back at that Ohio State game where that offense just, struggled, but look at what Ohio State is. Then it doesn't look so bad now. Texas almost won that game. I think it almost feels a little bit like a sunny side up a little bit wherever you look approach with Texas, because you just don't need Arch Manning to do that much. And if he does, then look out. Maybe we're having those national title conversations again. I'm not willing to go that far yet, but it's college football. You never know what's around the corner every week. And that's kind of what I think when I think of Texas.
Yeah, and what Arch did do last week was not commit any turnovers in a game where, like you were just noting, you didn't really have to do much. So that means you have to do one thing: take care of the football, and he did that. And now for the season, and if his last name wasn't Manning, and this was a guy that came into the season having only 2 career starts under his belt, and if he had a 12-5 TDI ratio and he had 5 rushing touchdowns, it wouldn't be elite. But I mean, for a guy making starts 3 through 9 of his career, I mean, I think we'd be saying, it's not too bad. So last year's result when these teams played, 31-14 Texas, but I bet on Kentucky that day, and they covered for me as an 18-point underdog. Now, Cutter Boley, who's now starting, what is this going to be, his 3rd start in a row, I think.
Yeah.
He did play against them and played most of the game last year. He was 10 of 18, 160 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Arch did not play against Kentucky last year, but the running back Wisner did, and he had a big game: 26 carries, 158 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Well, let's talk Kentucky a minute.
Yeah.
Just continual decline on offense. I keep thinking about that South Carolina team where I think South Carolina's defense may have had more points with Kentucky's
Right.
offense on the field than Kentucky did. In fact, I think it did. It had 2 defensive touchdowns. Kentucky scored 13 points. High water mark for Kentucky's offense per play, 7.3 over a bad Eastern Michigan team. Other than that, it's been below 5 yards a snap every game, except for Ole Miss, which was 5.1. They've turned it over almost 7% of snaps against South Carolina, over 3% against Georgia. What does Texas do, Brian? It allows you very little in terms of yardage, 261 a game. Oh, and by the way, it forces turnovers 3.2% of snaps.
Well, the lone bright spot for Kentucky this season offensively has been the running back Seth McGowan. He is now 431 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, and a 5.5 yards per carry average. Now, can they run the ball against Texas? I don't know. And get the ball to Kendrick Law. He's had a decent season. He's got 19 catches, and the situation, the spot certainly favors Kentucky. I mean, not only is Texas off the Red River game, but Kentucky has had 2 weeks to prepare. So there are some little, scheduling tidbits that favor Kentucky here. Now, then the question becomes, is there going to be much of a crowd there?
Yeah. Well, I want to answer the question you just asked. Can Kentucky run the ball? 4.2 yards per rushing play against South Carolina, 2.6 against Georgia. This is what Texas has given up. These are sack adjusted rush yards per play. Ohio State 2.3, San Jose State 3.7, UTEP 2.7, Sam Houston 2.5, Florida 4.3, Oklahoma 3.2.
Yeah, but Ball got over 100 yards. I'm guessing that's probably the only 100-yard rusher they've allowed this year. Well,
you told me, I don't know that there's much to discuss here. I usually like to unpack everything. I just don't see a path for Kentucky to score points, and
right.
I worry about those turnover numbers too.
Well, I mean, and that's valid, and that tells us that, Kentucky's only path to victory here. That's to win the turnover battle, and hopefully Arch on the road again. Maybe he struggles. Maybe he throws some picks. I mean, that's their only path to victory. I mean, Stoops wants to do exactly what he did at Ole Miss last year. He wants to yuck it up. He wants to have success running the ball, to eat clock, and and play good defense and get pressure on the quarterback. I don't know if any of those things are gonna materialize or if they're even possible. But I mean, that's what he wants to do. That's certainly the plan. So you better get McGowan a bunch of touches and to 100 yards rushing if you want to be in the game. Now that's a lot more easily said than done.
Now, look, there is spot here. Kentucky comes off a bye week. It is at home. It is it's a night kickoff, so maybe fans are inspired to come see your team pull an upset. Maybe that plays to your favor. And Texas is coming off a big win. And again, we're not going to sit here and act like all of Texas's problems were solved in 1 week with what, as you dig deeper, was a pretty mediocre offensive performance. But let's just get the picks, Brian. What are you thinking? I think you know where I'm going to go, but I want to hear yours first.
I think Mark Pope needs to have an open practice at mid afternoon, so he's getting a lot of fans just down to campus, and then since they're already down there, maybe they go to the game. I got to go Texas here. I'm not like I don't know that I would lay the points though. It's a double-digit number, but Texas is going to win outright. Yes.
So I think Texas comes and blows them out. I just do not. I mean, sometimes something happens, somebody busts a coverage, a team shows up unfocused, and with Texas's offense, right? I mean, they're not exactly lighting up the scoreboard. But I just don't know that Kentucky gets on the scoreboard, and if so, not much. I could see Texas's defense scoring more points with Kentucky's offense on the field than Kentucky's offense does. And when you're at that point, 12.5 doesn't feel like a whole lot. In fact, the predictive model I built, which is usually really close to the lines, has got Texas by 14.5. So that's my pick. Now, I've got a question for you on the over-under, which is set by FanDuel on
42.5.
42.5. All right, I want to get your opinion on that in just a minute. First, we remind you that we're brought to you by the Yearly Company. And it's a Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meaning. Each piece is handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, made to measure for a perfect fit, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom size, so knowing your size is the most important first step before ordering. That's where the sizing kit comes in. It's the perfect place to start for husbands who want to have sizes ready now, so shopping closer to the holidays is effortless. Code SE16KIT will take 100% off your sizing kit at checkout. Get your Christmas shopping done today at Yearly. Thank us later. We're also brought to you by ROKFORM. I think both these offenses make you want to throw your phones at times. If you do, I hope it's protected by a ROKFORM case like mine is. I've dropped it many times. It's like nothing ever happened. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. September is the busiest month of the year with the new iPhone release. SEC 2.5 gets you 25% off your entire order. I'm going to give you a tip. Get the case and get the vent clip for your car. You will thank me for that later. I love their stuff, and you will too. We're also brought to you by HOVI Dry Goods. Speaking of things I like, my Titans are awful. My Titans hats are not, thanks to HOVI Dry Goods. It's my new favorite hat. Look no further than HOVI hats for high-quality headwear with the great fit and unique designs. HOVI, drygoods.com. Bad Beat, BADBEAT, gets you 15% off your entire order. Brian Edwards, your opinions on the over-under here.
Okay, the over is actually hitting 3 straight games for Kentucky, but the under hit in the first 2. So the over is 3-2 overall for Kentucky. But this is their lowest total. The previous low was 47 against South Carolina, and that barely went over as they had a 48 combined points. The under is 4-2 for Texas. This matches their lowest total of the year, which was 42.5 against Florida, and that went over in the 29-21 game. I mean, like I gotta say over on this now, not because I think necessarily Kentucky's going to get many points, but the only 3 SEC games Kentucky's played this year, they gave up 30 to Ole Miss, and that had 53 combined. They gave up 35 to South Carolina, had 48 combined. They gave up 35 to Georgia and had 49 combined. So I'm hoping and guessing Kentucky can get to maybe 14, and I'm going to say over here. Not like a lot of confidence, though.
Okay, if you take the final score and you unpack it, or on the over-under, with the 42.5 and a 12.5 point spread, your implied final score is like 27-15. Explain to me how Kentucky gets to 15 points.
I don't know that they do, but 34-10 would go over.
Yeah. So if Kentucky gets to 7, then you're looking at 35-7.
At 30,
Texas has gotten to 35 against a Power 5 opponent. What? 0 times this year. Yes. 7 against Ohio State, 21 against Florida, 23 against Oklahoma.
But South Carolina got to 35 on Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could see some pick sixes and stuff. I just feel like this is going to be an under game.
Fair enough.
So, but you're better at this than I am.
Oh, well, I've been ice cold the last couple weeks.
So what's the official stance here?
I'll say final 34-13 over.
Okay. Wow. All right. He's bold. I like it. I don't see it, but that's why you do what you do and I do what I do. Anyway, all right. We're done with analysis for this game. Come watch our reaction to it afterwards. Subscribe to the channel, enable your notifications. Also, we are going head first into basketball content, starting with Media Days, which is today in Alabama. So check out our content there too. For Brian Edwards, I'm Chris Lee. Thank you for watching Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel.